The president did nothing to ease my concern about another looming problem, and that is the crisis on our border. For months, the president and members of his administration have denied what is a clear and growing crisis on the border. I hoped he might finally acknowledge the reality of the situation in his primetime address and commit to working together with us to solve it. But no such luck. Instead, he talked about the need to provide a solution for DACA recipients and undertake broader immigration reform. I want to be clear here. I agree that Congress should take action to give DACA recipients the legal certainty and stability they deserve. This is a priority for folks on both sides of the aisle, and I hope we'll finally be able to get a bill on the president's desk to help these young people who have done nothing wrong. More broadly, there's no denying our immigration system is in need of reform. It's outdated and inefficient and simply doesn't meet the needs of our country today. But we're not ready for those types of conversations until we solve the immediate crisis at the border. Last month alone, more than 172,000 migrants crossed our southern border. 100,000 crossed in February, and nearly 19,000 of those individuals who came across last month were unaccompanied children. We've seen migration in the past, surges, but never anything like this, and never during a pandemic. There's serious risks to our law enforcement officials, our non-governmental associations, and of course to the migrants themselves. Something needs to be done now before the crisis grows even larger. If you're cooking dinner for your family and the food in the oven catches on fire, are you going to keep stirring the pot on the stove? Are you going to set the table or call your kids to come downstairs for dinner? No, you're going to put the fire out first. That's what we need to do now, before we can even have those necessary conversations about immigration reform. We need to put the fire out and put it out now. Once we've taken action on the border crisis, I hope we can have serious bipartisan discussions about immigration reform and finally provide DACA recipients the certainty they deserve. But that can't happen until the crisis on the border is addressed. Like I said, I'm disappointed that the president didn't address this in his speech last evening, and I was hoping he'd be willing to work with a bipartisan group of senators and congressmen who are eager to take action. Last week, Senator Sinema from Arizona and I introduced the Bipartisan Border Solutions Act, a straightforward and common sense way to address this crisis. The bill already has the support of members for both parties and in both chambers, as well as a number of respected organizations. We'd be glad to gain the support of the administration as well. But you can't solve a problem until you first acknowledge that you have a problem. And we have a problem with the crisis on the border. And Madam President, this is not going to get any better. We know that much of this migration is seasonal. And so the high numbers, more than 300,000 that we've seen so far this year, are going to translate into even more numbers next month and next month and next. So the time to deal with this is now, but like I said, until the administration acknowledges that there's a problem and that we need to work on it together, it's going to get nothing but worse. Madam President, I yield the floor.